What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of thechi. This is season 4, episode 8, and the episode is titled Love Jones. First of all, y'all already know I'm probably going to go in on this episode. I thought it was cute. However, there's definitely some things that we need to discuss. And the fact that Love Jones was the theme, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a good movie. However, I just don't see it for people who are under the age of 30 being in love with the movie Love Jones. Now, hear me out, y'all. Because, first of all, we start off with Emmett calling Keisha. At first, I thought he was calling Tiff, but no, he was actually calling Keisha to tell her that their movie is on. Their movie, Emmett and Keisha, right? And she's like, oh, thanks for telling me that this movie is on. I said, okay, cool. However, how old is Emmett supposed to be? Because at this point, Keisha has to be, 19? Because she just had the baby. She's already graduated from school. She has to be 19. Emmett has to be 21. He can't be that much older than her, because if that was the case, our first season that we watched this show is super problematic. So therefore, if he's like 21 years old, these 21-year-olds in 2021, I know they ain't watching Love Jones. I'm just throwing that out there. But this was cute. Let's just roll with it. One thing that I wanted to mention was that I actually really love the fact that Emmett and Keisha, they have a good relationship, and how he always, checks in on her to see how she's doing. I just love that. So next thing you know, though, he ends up trying to figure out where Tiff is, so he ends up texting her. Now, after that, we jump on over to Kevin, and he is leaving Lene another message because, he met her, she friend-zoned him, and he's trying to get out of the friend zone. Now, I will say, overall, like I said earlier, this episode was cute. However, I feel like the way we left off on the last episode, I need to finish out some of those storylines, because I want to know where Lene is. Because her brother, he ended up shooting that guy, and then he got on. She was coming home that night. So by the time she got home, I'm pretty sure, the whole area was blocked off and all of that. I want to know, did she, have to leave? Did she get placed somewhere? Did her brother's girlfriend end up letting her stay? Like, I have so many questions. I need to know what's going on with Lene, to be honest with you. We could have skipped over a few storylines on this episode so I can know what's going on with that little girl. But anyways, Keisha ends up coming in, and she's trying to tell Kevin, like, dude, you gotta chill out a little bit. I get you trying to get out of the friend zone, but this ain't the move. So at this point, Kevin is like, well, who's better, me or Jake? Who looks better? And Keisha's like, boy, I cannot decide, because first of all, you're my brother, and Jake is Jake. No, thank you. And I just think it's so interesting how we have been having conversations with Keisha and Kevin a lot more this season, which I actually love, because for a while, like, we hardly even got to see them really interact and be, a good brother and sister relationship. So I actually love the way they interact with each other now. One thing that I want to bring up is the fact that Kevin is basically saying, like, all these girls, they only want a bad boy. So Keisha, she's like, no, that's not true. That's not every girl. And he's like, no, it is true, because look at all the dudes you've dated. I said, well, Keisha, he has a point when you really think about it. Because when we met Keisha, let's just go down the history a little bit. When we met Keisha, she was dating Emmett, right? So then after she was dating Emmett, she was messing around with that coach, remember? And then she had ended up getting kidnapped. But if y'all remember last season, Keisha was dating Nook. And I feel like that is one part of the story that people keep on forgetting. And the only thing that I keep thinking is, I feel like Keisha's life would have gotten messed up regardless. Because if she was dating Nook, right, and now we know Nook is the guy who was running the sex trafficking house, do y'all think that he would have tried to get Keisha in there? Because I just think that's so weird, because Trinity seemed like a decent girl. You know what I'm saying? Who knows how he got her in this house? Y'all understand what I'm saying? Because I'm just like, yo, Keisha, honestly, she was in a lose-lose situation. Because you have the guy who kidnapped her and tormented her, and then she was dating Nook, who was, I thought he was just like a local little drug dealer. Come to find out, he running all types of stuff out of that house that he was in. So, I don't know, like, that is like the big question that I have been having since last season, and that is, was Keisha going to be okay if she did not get kidnapped, considering she was dating Nook? Like, was he going to try to, add her to his list of girls that he has? Or was he just like a dude who happened to date Keisha? You know what I'm saying? And that's just, a part of the other part of his life that she don't see. But let's just go ahead and move on. Because we see that Tiff is calling Emmett back, right? But where is Tiff at, y'all? She's on a date with Dante. They were out in the public together, while she's talking to Emmett. Dante all loud in the phone and all this stuff. And I'm just like, girl, you just gave a whole speech to Keisha about how you love your baby and how it was the best decision you could, think of your life without your baby. Girl, where your baby at right now? Because you are literally out here in these streets with a whole other man on a date while your husband at home. I guess the baby is there. Hell, who knows? The baby could be at Jada's house. Who knows? But anyways, here's the thing. I don't hate Tiff. I really don't. But at the same time, I just want her to admit that she actually likes Dante. And it's not just, oh, we, hook up here and there. Because it's clearly more than that if y'all out here in public. So, of course, you have Emmett. He's pissed off about it. But it's like, what can he do? Literally, what can Emmett do? Nothing. Just sit there and wait till Tiff come back home. Alright, now let's go ahead and hop on over to Papa and Jake. So, Papa is, I guess he was working at this point. Because it's interesting to me that he's the only kid who has a job at this point. Papa works at Smokey's, but if y'all remember last season, Jake was working and Kevin was working at Duda's Pizza Place. I wish that they would have kept their jobs. Like, give these kids something to do. Hell, especially Kevin, because I just feel like baby boy be going through it. So, I need for him to keep his mind on other things. But let's just go ahead and hop back over to Jake and Papa. So, basically, you have Papa talking about how, Myesha, even though she pretends to be super strong, she's very sensitive because, according to the show, Myesha has blown up. Myesha is popping right now. How do we know this? We don't. Literally, we saw Myesha rap on Papa's little podcast one time. And then next thing you know, magazines are reaching out to Myesha. I don't understand that. Because at some point, they could have just thrown in like a little clip of like the kids being like, dang, Myesha, look, your video going viral or something like that, so that we can see that, oh, Myesha's gaining traction. There are people following and listening to Myesha. Like, I just feel like this storyline came out of nowhere. But anyways, there are people who are hating on Myesha, and Papa still feels like that's his queen and how, he gonna ride for her till the end because he wants Myesha back. So, you have Jake suggesting that Papa goes to check on Myesha just to see how she's handling, all this criticism, or not even criticism, just like people hating on her. And Papa is like, you need to go ahead and give Gemma her credit because she's making you a better man. And I'm just like, because he told you to check on Myesha? That you giving Gemma all that credit? Okay, sir. Let's go ahead and move on. Now, y'all, we have Emmett. He's out here cooking breakfast for Tiff. so that she can come back home and have a hot meal after she done had a hot night with Dante. Make it make sense, please. Please make it make sense. Because ain't no way that is going to realistically happen. I'm sorry, it's not. But we gonna play along. Because Tiff comes home and she just goes to take a shower. And honestly, the best thing out of that whole scene was Emmett with no shirt on. Let's move on. Alright, so we actually see Papa go see Myesha. Now, first thing I noticed, I said, ooh, who moving on up? Because Myesha is not living in that little apartment that she used to live in. Y'all remember when Kevin used to have to take his bike up to her place? So that way she could have a ride to school or whatever it was, because she was riding his bike. That's all I can remember. Ooh, these kids have come a long way. But anyways, Papa goes over there to see Myesha, and she's just basically, letting him know that, sometimes she doesn't always feel like a queen, because I think he said, like, hey, queen, or something to her. And he's like, well, listen, you can't let those comments, get to you, because you're walking in your purpose and all this stuff. Papa always has the right things to say. And of course, Papa lets Myesha know that he actually misses her, and she says that she misses him as well. However, they are not about to get us together. They're not, because baby girl says, I need my me time. I still need some time to work on some things about myself. So that's where we end off. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so y'all, we actually hop on over to Jake and Trigg, because Jake is looking at a car, and Trigg is basically like, listen, I need for you to be realistic about getting a car, and also you're going to have to work for a car. So then he's like, well, how'd you get your first car? And Trigg is like, oh, I stole it. I said, oh, Lord. I forgot that he used to run the streets back in the day. So you have Jake saying that he doesn't want to stunt in his car. He just wants to treat Gemma right. And okay, listen, you guys, I'm really trying with Jake and Gemma. However, I don't see it for them, because I don't see them having anything in common, anything to talk about, just because the way she is and how he is just so, I want to be hard so bad, I want to be a thug so bad. I'm just like, I don't see how this gonna work. But you know what? We just gonna let these kids roll on. Trigg, he has audacity though to say, oh, you want to treat Gemma right, you ain't treat Kev right. I said, nigga, you are like 3 episodes too late to be telling him this. Legit, like 3 episodes too late. Honestly, it has bothered me that we had to wait like 2-3 episodes for someone to call Jake and Gemma out, to be like, y'all know y'all was wrong. But keep in mind, like 3 episodes ago, when everything would hit the fan, everybody looked at Kevin like as if he was the problem. I'm like, what are we watching? What are we watching, you guys? But anyways, so now you have Jake being like, well, what happened with you and Shaw? Is it because, Imani says she wanted Shaw to leave? So basically they both say that they're going to talk to, the guy friends that they have, because they don't want their friendships to be ruined. Here's my only thing about this whole thing. I just hate that, like, Jake compared his situation to Trigg's situation, because, sir, that was very, very, very different. First of all, those grown people. You are a teenager. You took your best friend's girlfriend. That is very different than your brother. He was dating a woman that his friend has issue with because of their gender. That is a total different thing, sweetheart. But let's just go ahead and move on. Alright, so we head on over to Smokey's, because as we all know at this point, this is the only restaurant in Chicago. Now, one thing I will say, y'all, we have not seen Dom in like 2-3 episodes. I don't know where Lala at, but she is not in these episodes, and it's kind of weird. So let's just, finish what I was about to talk about. Okay, so you have Emmett sitting there with Kevin. They're waiting on Papa to show up because Emmett needs advice. Emmett, who is, like I said, he has to be about 20 to 21 years old. I'm sorry, I cannot go any higher than that number, because if I go any higher, we have a problem with season 1 because he was messing around with Keisha. Like, I can handle if he's like a year or two older than her, but if he's any older than that, again, we have a problem. But anyways, why is he going to Papa for advice? Also, why does Emmett not have any male friends? Hell, he can even have more female friends. I don't care. Why does Emmett not have any friends? That is so strange to me. There's no way this boy is, like I said, 21 years old. He has his business, sure. But, like, y'all remember when we first met Emmett? He was all about, like, sneakers and all that. Like, usually those type of people have friends. Like, because he was, like, the popping guy around the neighborhood. I don't understand how he has nobody. Like, why are you talking to children? If anything, you're supposed to be giving them advice, not them giving you advice about what you should do in your marriage. Marriage. Not your little girlfriend. Marriage. Like, what is this? So, they actually end up... I'm sorry, not even they. Kevin, he ends up inserting his little situation into the equation because he wants to know who they would think would win a fight out of him and Jake. I'm like, sir, y'all are not about to fight. Y'all fought, I want to say, was it season 1 or season 2 when Papa had to bring them back together? Y'all remember that? We're not watching y'all fight again. We're not. So... you have Papa, he's like, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm not getting into that. However, Emmett is like, well, he come from a long line of fighters. Like, oh, Kevin, you are really trying to seek some type of validation from any and everybody. All right, so we see Keisha, and she's at her little thrift shop job. And I'm so over it. I can't lie. It bothers me that Keisha is working at a thrift store. Because baby girl had dreams to go to college, right? I don't understand why she could not enroll in a local Chicago college. Like Chicago school. I'm pretty sure they have something out there. Or even a community college. Like, let her go to school for nursing. Let Keisha do something. Like, you guys, the way that they just snatched all the opportunity out of Keisha. And then she's out here just tagging things at a thrift store. Like, baby girl, there is more to life. Come on now. And what's crazy to me is that you have Nina and Dre as parents. Or should I say so-called parents. Because honestly, their only interest is each other. Like, they don't even try to guide Keisha in any type of way. Considering Dre is supposed to be some type of counselor. Baby girl has no skills to be brought home to the kids in her own household. But that's for a whole nother story. Let's just go ahead and hop on back to Keisha and Christian. Because Christian comes by, check up on her, see how she's doing. How's the baby doing? Because he genuinely, cares about what Keisha has going on. So he basically is like, listen, you seem like you need to have a break. So let me go ahead and take you out for a few hours. First of all, I said, Keisha, I need for you to know how to talk to this guy. Because when she was like, well, you know that I'm lactating. I said, ew. And not in a way of like, that's disgusting. It was more like, ew, that is not how we're starting this conversation. Like, you have a cute dude, even though he low-key looks like Russell Westbrook. He's trying to get at you. He's trying to take you out. And you over here talking about how you're lactating and how you live with your mom and your moms and your brother. Ma'am, we need to work on our responses. This is not how Keisha used to be. You a little rusty, girl. But at the end of the conversation, Keisha does decide to go out with him. And I'm like, girl, this is probably the best decision that you have made as of recently. Alright, so we actually see Myesha and Kevin together. And I cannot lie, I was so happy about this scene just because I was a fan of Kevin dating Myesha. Like, when I think about it, this is the second time one of his best friends has taken his girl. Just throwing this out there, but this is the second time that one of his best friends has taken his girl. That's crazy. Kevin needs all new friends. But, Kevin goes over there to talk to Myesha. Of course, he got sent there by Papa, but he also wants to talk about his own situation. I mean, throughout this whole scene, the only thing that I kept thinking was, wow, I actually do like this conversation that Myesha and Kevin are having. And I'm just like, yo, why aren't they utilizing Myesha more? Because she's really good, especially while she's talking to Kevin. Like, maybe she needs to be his voice of reason, in a couple of episodes. But that's not what we got. So let's go ahead and move on. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention that the whole reason why Kevin even went over to her place was to see if she was going to come to this party that Papa was throwing at his daddy church. Yeah, y'all. They are listening to trap music out of his daddy's church. Let's move on. Now, we hop on over to Emmett. He is working a register, and Trigg stops by. Now, they start having a conversation about how, Tiff is dating some other guy with their open relationship and all this stuff. But I'm just like, why is Emmett telling this to Trigg? The whole time, the only thing I kept thinking was, why is Emmett telling this to Trigg? They are not friends. They don't know each other. The only thing that he knows about Trigg is that he works at the community center that Tracy has, and that he's Jake's brother. That is all. They're not friends. Why is this conversation happening? Let's move on. Alright, so we actually had another scene that was quite unnecessary to me. And that was when Christian was talking to some girl that he knew from back in the day. And you have Keisha getting upset. I'm just like, this scene is so unnecessary. She's only about to be going out on a date with him. She don't really know him like that. Why is she over here trying to get jealous? Moving along. Alright, so we actually end up running into Kevin and Gemma. Because Kevin ran into her and he's like, I'm not going to stop fighting for you. And she's like, listen, that's harassment. Let's not do that. He ends up inviting her to Papa's party. And I'm just like, Kevin, I know that you want her back and all this stuff, but at the same time, why would you not think that Jake would be coming with her? Like, I understand that, Kevin really wants Gemma back, but I'm sorry, his approach is trash. It really is. Because there's no way that he thought that Papa would be throwing a party and Gemma, who has no connection to Papa technically, all she has is Kevin and Jake because they went to the same school. Like, why would she show up and not have Jake on her hip? Come on now, Kevin. Use your brain. Alright, so now let's go ahead and move on over to Emmett and Tiff. So, Emmett, he actually shows up to their house and he has on his leather jacket and he is basically reenacting a scene from Love Jones. Here is my issue. Love Jones was him and Keisha's movie, right? Why are we now making it a him and Tiff thing? Like, y'all get what I'm saying? Like, I can understand if it was a special movie that him and Tiff loved, but at the top of the episode, they made sure that we knew that was a him and Keisha thing. Like, I get it. It was cute. But I just feel like it would have made more sense if he would have done this with Keisha. Just throwing that out there. But Tiff was super happy. She was just like, oh my gosh, we were reenacting Love Jones. Oh my gosh. And again, I keep saying, I don't think that people who are in their early 20s are out here reenacting Love Jones. But this is cute. This is real cute, because next thing you know, out of nowhere, Tiff has a short wig on. I said, girl, where'd you get this knee-long wig from? We ain't seen Tiff rock this ever, but we gonna roll with it. So actually, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and finish out everybody's storyline, just because everything was pretty sectioned off. So let's just go ahead and start off with Emmett and Tiff. Just continue with them. They actually went out to a comedy club. The comedian was whack to me, because he was basically, trying to talk about Tiff and Emmett and their marriage and whatever. So they went out dancing, and it looked like they had a really good time. Tiff and Emmett, they did look really good together, and they looked like they had a grand time. Now, one thing that I actually realized, though, was that, y'all know how it would have made this so much cuter? Instead of Emmett and Tiff doing the Love Jones thing, I think it would have been cute, like super cute, if Suede would have pulled this with Jada. Could you imagine if if Suede would have showed up to Jada's doorstep, reenacting the scene, and she's like, oh my gosh, that's my favorite movie. Like, you know what I'm saying? To get her spirits up and stuff. I think that would have been a dope scene. I think that if this situation was Suede and Jada, I would have actually loved it a lot more than Emmett and Tiff, just because I feel like it'll be more believable. But back to them. So Emmett ends up taking Tiff back to where they met. It was like some bridge or whatever. Or at least that's what it looked like. And he basically tells her that he has upgraded her ring. Okay, so baby boy has spent a little bit of money. He upgraded her ring, and he also tells her that he no longer wants to be in this open marriage. However, Tiff, unfortunately, she still wants to be in this open relationship because she says that she likes variety. And I'm like, girl, you don't like variety. You like Dante, okay? You like Emmett, and you also like Dante, and you cannot choose who you like more. Let's just be honest here. Also, like I said, their ages, right? Like I said, Emmett and Tiff have to be like 21, maybe. If I say 22, I feel like I'm pushing it. There's no way that they're like 25. There's no way. So, with them being that young, I mean, Emmett, he has experienced all types of women. However, when it comes to Tiff, I do kind of feel like she was not able to fully live a little, because she had a baby young. She was with Emmett. Then she dated that one abusive guy. And then she went back to Emmett. And they've been together pretty much since then. I feel like she probably needed to explore and, find herself a bit more before she actually got married to Emmett. That's just my theory. And I don't know. Like, I'm not mad that she doesn't want to end this open marriage. Just saying. But however, Emmett does tell her that, if you can't, close this marriage again, then I don't want to be with you. So we shall see what's going to happen with them. And let's go ahead and move on. All right, you guys, now I'm going to talk about Keisha and Christian. So, first of all, she finally decided that she's going to go on this date with him. And when he shows up, he has like his little motorcycle or whatever. And she's like, I am not riding that thing. And he's like, just hold on to me, get on the back, whatever. So she does get on. I'm like, okay, that's nice. You ride through the city on a motorcycle. They end up going to like a record store. And, he plays a song for her. And she puts the headphones on. He's like, this reminds me of you. And I don't know, it was just like a very, just nice date. Like, I must say, especially when they ended up leaving the record shop. Also, was the girl in the record shop, was that the same girl he was talking to at the thrift store? Y'all let me know in the comments. But when they ended up going, I guess, back to his place or whatever, like, and they were dancing and having a good time, I'm just like, yes, finally, this is what Keisha has needed. Some normalcy. Some things that where people, they treat her as if she is a normal person. Because I feel like for a while, people were not treating her like as if she was this, 18, 19-year-old young woman. Like, they were just treating her kind of like she was a foreign thing. Also I forgot to mention, because I don't know where this was during their date. They went to like some like spoken word thing. And, it ended up triggering Keisha. And when he ran after her, and he was like, can I give you a hug? And she was like, yes. Oh my gosh. I was just like, Keisha. She's finally feeling a little bit more comfortable with Christian. And that makes me happy because I really don't think that he's a bad guy. I don't. So at the end of their date, though, it is pouring down raining. And they actually end up kissing when she got dropped off at home. Alright, now let's go ahead and finish out this episode and talk about these kids. Because we get to the party, okay? We get to this party that is for Myesha. However, when Myesha gets there, it is empty. And that's because Papa was waiting for her to arrive, and then he was going to let everybody in. And she's like, no, that's not how you do a party. But whatever. She did appreciate him throwing this party for her. Now, throughout the night, we see that, Kevin is in his feelings because Gemma hasn't shown up. But then you also see that some other guy is dancing with Myesha. And now Papa out here acting like he about to go regulate on this poor little boy. And Myesha's like, listen, we are not together. You don't need to do this type of stuff anymore. I said, well, Papa, go sit with your bestie so both of y'all can be in y'all feelings. And that's exactly what happened. He went to go sit with Kevin. So next thing you know, Gemma finally gets there, right? Kevin's so hyped up, in his little spirit. However, Jake was right behind her. I have no idea why he did not expect for Jake to be there. It does not make sense at all. But once he saw her, he got up and he decided to go dance with some girl. Keep in mind, he was dancing with this girl the entire night that he was at this party. Oh, did I forget to mention that this party was thrown at Papa's dad's church? Strange place for this type of party, but okay. So, at one point, you have Myesha basically telling Papa that, they're not together. However, she really does appreciate this party, and it was something that she needed. And Papa is trying to be understanding because, like he keeps saying, he is still learning. I say, you know what, Papa, that's all we can expect from you. You are still learning. Now, when it comes to Kevin and Gemma, first of all, Gemma cannot take her eyes off of Kevin because he's dancing with another girl. Now, Jake is over here like, why you keep looking over there? Why you keep looking at what he got going on? And I'm just like, Jake, because clearly she still likes this boy. Like, come on now. But at the same time, I'm like, Gemma, that was your decision. Remember, you wanted to go with Jake. Don't worry about what Kevin got going on. You need to go ahead and be with your dreadlock, dry lip boyfriend. That's what you need to do. So, at one point, we do see that Myesha goes to talk to Gemma. This right here was the highlight for me because she straight up told Gemma to her face, I always knew you wasn't shit. She didn't lie. She did not lie at all because Myesha's like, you have these two boys. They are literally fighting over you. And Gemma's response is, well, I didn't tell them to fight over me. It's like, girl, what did you expect? First of all, these are not two just boys that you happen to go to school with. You chose to go to Kevin's best friend and date him. Sweetheart, these boys were friends way before you even came into the picture. So, of course, there's going to be some type of issue. And, of course, they're going to try to fight over you because, first of all, Jake is your new boyfriend. And Kevin, you just kind of left him high and dry without, to me, without any valid reasons as to why you left him. Because you saying that, well, he doesn't support you in all the things you believe in. And we were all watching the same show. Every time she mentioned any of her little organizations or whatever, Jake cracked jokes about them, and he didn't support it either. So I don't understand what we're talking about here. And I feel like that's part of the reason why I do not see it for Jake and Gemma. But let's go ahead and move on, because at one point, Jake and Kevin, they're actually standing next to each other. And Kevin is just like, listen, when I told you to get a girlfriend, I did not mean mine. I told you to go find some other little girl to be your girlfriend. And Jake's response is, oh, my bad. I'm sorry, but where was the apology? Like, I just feel like they became friends way too fast. Like, Jake should have fully apologized, and he did not. Like, when he started off with the, I'm sorry, I'm just like, Jake, really? Okay, whatever. There's one part where Kevin is telling Jake, though, that he doesn't want any pain to come to Gemma. And I'm like, sir, but she caused all the pain to you. I don't understand this. Because it wasn't just that Jake took your girlfriend. No, your girlfriend willingly went to Jake. Like, she volunteered herself as tribute to go to Jake. And also, while all these apologies were happening, you have Papa on the microphone. He's giving Myesha her flowers. They show his little collage that he made for her. She walks up to the front. And, Papa really did make Myesha happy. Now, at some point, I do want those two to get back together, because I don't even see why they're apart. Let's go ahead and hop back over to Gemma and Kevin, because they actually end up talking, and she's, wondering about the girl that he was dancing with, and he's like, I was just dancing with her. But at the same time, I'm just like, you don't have to answer none of Gemma's questions, first of all. Secondly, Gemma, you should have been focused on Jake. Remember? That's who you chose. So, you do have Kevin basically saying that, it's probably always going to be awkward when we see each other with other people. And Gemma's like, yeah, because I know that it's probably really hard for you to see me with Jake. And I'm like, yeah, considering that was his best friend. So Gemma apologizes again, and Kevin is like, no, I just want y'all to be happy or whatever. Be happy together. However, if he break up with you or something goes wrong, don't be looking for me, because I won't be standing around waiting for you. I said, you know what? I want you to keep that energy this entire time. Don't look back to Gemma, because that is not where you need to be. And that is where the episode ended, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Hopefully the next one will be more focused on Nina and Dre, as well as that little girl, Lene. Let me know what y'all thought about it. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Oh yeah, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye, guys.